This week on part 3 of the Married to Medicine season 11 reunion.
Not insult you.
I felt insulted.
You felt anything that I say in reference to me, you're going to feel a certain type of way.
No,
and you
that's
need
not
to get
true.
over that.
That's not true. The remark you made about throwing.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the final part of the Married to Medicine season 11 reunion. This is the very last episode, so let's get right into it. Alright, so part 3.
Clap if you care. Clap if you care.
Yeah, this could have been 2 parts, honestly, but let's just go ahead and talk about it. So part 3 begins with the women at the dressing rooms. They were watching the husband segment. The men are currently being questioned about exes being all on the same trip and how things got heated at the Vibes game. Curtis says that he doesn't really see a problem with Quad, saying how much she loves King because she had to hear Dr. G talk about his new wife all of last year. So in the rooms where the ladies are watching this, Simone says, well, Quad wasn't around to necessarily see Greg last year. Quad says, well, it was wrong for you all to usher them in the group in the first place. The fact that you all did that is a problem. So Simone gets mad, she gets loud, and she says, you weren't around so we can usher whoever the F we want. You gave us your ass to kiss, so we hung out with Greg. They got close to each other's faces, they're screaming. Simone says, you got your karma. Quad says, what karma are you talking about? I was there to help you find your dad. Simone says, don't talk to me about that. You've only done things for the camera. You've never been with me without a camera. It was very heated. They had to separate them. Production had to separate them, take them out of the room. It was a lot. Toya, Contessa, and Mimi are trying to calm Quad down and make her relax. And then Jackie and Sweet Tea are trying to calm Simone down. I will say, I thought it was very rude that Jackie, in a very rude way, told Sweet Tea to get out. Like, okay, I get it. She's your best friend. You want to talk to her or whatever. But damn, do you have to say like that?
How dare you?
I want you to go. Damn. Okay, so going back to the men, Andy says that viewers asked Dr. G, why the hell did he feel the need to tell on himself at the beach? And I remember saying this at the time that I was covering the episode. I was like, why would Dr. G tell on himself? But he admits that it was dumb for him to do that. Steven says that even though he was a football player, that beach stay was the craziest thing he's ever seen. And I totally believe it. Andy jokes about who would have won in a fight, Greg or King. I really didn't think it was a laughing matter, but at least Dr. G took it with some humor, and he was like, listen, he's twice my size and half my age. No, twice my size and half my age. Andy then brings up Dr. G's hot mic moment with Sweet Tea, and Greg says that he regrets it and he definitely owes his wife an apology. King then says, well, you clearly have some familiarity talking to women like that. He then says that regarding the charges, he himself called the police station and that they told him that Dr. G was wasting their time. King says to him, you were just mad because you came to me and you couldn't handle my response. And Dr. G says, I stood up to you because you tried to bully me because you initiated the conversation first. Andy asks if they can move forward in any type of way, and Dr. G says, I don't think so, because he clearly already had some notions about me. King says, no, I just wanted to make it clear that you can't talk to her like that. Dr. G is like, okay, but I was kind of triggered by someone who is really trying to disparage my character. Then all the men try and sort of scold Dr. G and saying that he's a man, he can't respond to Quad or any woman. He shouldn't have said that. She talked too effing much. But Dr. G says, well, it needed to be said. Listen, I don't have a problem with him saying that to her. The only problem I have is him using the F word. I don't like that. So that was pretty much it for the husband segment. They're now gonna do the husbands and the wives part. So the women fill their husbands in on the Simone and Quad fight. So then they all get back, and Andy references the fight that happened. Quad wants to know why Simone said that she got her karma. Like, what did she mean by that? Simone says, to hear over and over again what we did to you. I'm so tired of hearing what we did, because what did you do? If you run around keeping your life a secret because you didn't trust us, what were we supposed to do other than move on? Quad says, well, y'all went for them. Y'all brought them here because y'all wanted to get back at me. Simone says Cecile was always friends with Greg, and then, just same things that we've heard. Quad says that she's still holding on to things from last year. She does apologize for the outburst. Simone says okay. Heavenly then uses this moment to apologize to Contessa. She says that seeing Simone and Quad fight, I guess, made her see how she and Contessa were that one time. So she says to Contessa, let's do whatever we have to do to move on. I'm so sorry, Contessa. Let's move from this, sister. Beautiful apology, but we usually know how Heavenly's apologies end up. She'll come at you 5 minutes later. Andy moves on to King and Quad. They mentioned the Rolls Royce. Andy says, King, you gave her the Rolls Royce, but where's the ring? It's got to be a nice ring that can top off that Rolls Royce. Quad says, yes, the ring will come. Listen, I hope it comes. I hope he buys the ring. I hope he buys it in that he isn't sued over it being stolen, allegedly. Then they take a look at the couples trip again, and we see the whole Lunceford versus Quad and Kirk, all of that. So they joke about Simone's kayak competition and how her team won because she put Steven on there. Quad and King are still trying to say they have sex 15 times a week, and Curtis says that him and Jackie now do it at least once a week. The lies, the lies, the lies. Andy then asks Quad about the night of the Vibes game. She says that she did nothing wrong. She was just hyping up her man. Andy says that King and Sweet Tea are kind of collateral damage between this whole situation because the issues really are between Greg and Quad. Dr. G then actually apologizes for how he behaved that night. He took accountability and he apologizes to Quad. Quad didn't do the same. She says, me talking about King isn't taking shots at Dr. G. I can't be coddling Dr. G's emotions. And you know what I was thinking? It really makes no sense to me why they allowed Quad to sort of reshape this narrative about that night. And because she kept saying that she never talked about Dr. G, which isn't true. She did talk about him that night. Maybe she was so drunk that she doesn't remember, but she did call him a narcissist, I remember her saying, among other things. And the fact that nobody corrected that and just let her say that was kind of crazy. In regards to the police report Dr. G wanted to file, Quad says that she thinks Dr. G's ego was bruised and he wanted to keep them away from the group. Damon then goes on some speech about masculinity and aggression. It's necessary sometimes.
You full of That's what you are. You full of
Dr. G says, of course you're supposed to defend your mate, but when your mate is insulting someone, that's a problem too. And then King and Quad jump in and they were like, you weren't insulted. So Dr. G says, I felt insulted. Quad says, well, I didn't insult you. Anything I will say will make you feel some type of way, and you need to get over it. I was just like, no, the projection. Dr. G says, no, look, for example, at the comment you made about throwing us a baby shower. Quad says, well, that was my way to show you that I'm not against y'all. Okay, but again, Quad, Dr. G doesn't need to know if you approve or don't approve of his marriage. Worry about whatever you have going on. The men all agree that you can't talk crazy to someone's wife or girlfriend, but Cecile adds that this notion of you can't talk to my partner, but they can say whatever they want to you is crazy. Heavenly gets loud about it, and she pretty much is of the belief that a man can't say anything to a woman, but a woman can say whatever she wants to the man. That is the stupidest mindset and most unrealistic thing I've heard. And that's coming from me, someone who actually believes in a lot of traditional conventions, but this whole thing is just ridiculous. Toya kept throwing shots at Sweet Tea and Dr. G, which I've said it since part 1. The hard one that Toya had for T at this reunion was very nasty and unnecessary. I didn't like watching it at all. Andy then brings up the hot mic moment, that heated moment between Dr. G and Sweet Tea. Again, Eugene says, listen, everybody in this room has said something in private to their partner that's not nice. Heavenly then straight out lies and says that her husband has never said anything bad to her. Does she think we are this dumb to believe that? Anyway, Dr. G gives a very sweet apology to Sweet Tea. Sweet Tea is very grateful to hear this apology, and she says to him, thank you. You know, we're going to have our disagreements, but we're going to keep it moving. King must have really been feeling himself because he jumps in and says, that was not a disagreement. That was not normal behavior. And I'm so glad Sweet Tea said to him, that's our normal, and that's not really for you to comment on, King. Toya says that Dr. G and T should go see a therapist or a counselor, and T says that they are in counseling. Andy then asks if the 4 of them can coexist. Sweet Tea says, yeah, sure. Quad says no, that she doesn't want to put her man in such a compromising position. Blah, blah, blah. Then Dr. G takes the mic. He's wearing his wife's merch, and he starts to perform his single, Set Me Free. Set me free. I want to be free from the bull. Listen, he was performing that, okay? I respect anyone who's confident, okay? Confident. And people, listen, if y'all don't like Dr. G, that's fine. But if you can't find any humor or lightheartedness on this, then y'all must be in a different vibration, okay? That was it for the husbands. Backstage, Eugene does try to kind of check Damon in a respectful way for calling Dr. G a coward. But of course, his buddy, Heavenly, jumps in and doesn't let them finish. So the women go back. They have an unnecessary segment about shade that was thrown throughout the season. Some things are funny, some things are shady, other things are just hateful. But it is what it is. Andy talked about Contessa's fashions and how that was a big target of the shade. She says that she takes it as a compliment. No, Contessa, no, it's not. You're too pretty to be wearing some of the stuff you wear. They play a game, guess who set the shade, and that was pretty much it. They talk about a few other things. Sweet Tea, Heavenly, and Quad are told to say nice things about themselves, which they did. I just don't like that Quad always tries to say something with a little bit of a jab in there. Like, I'm tired at this point. But they cheers, and that was it. That was the end of the reunion. Let me tell you, this was the most boring reunion ever. The third part. Like, it was unnecessary. We really didn't need it. It should have just been 2 parts. But with that, you guys, we wrap up season 11 of Married to Medicine. It's been a hell of a season. A lot of drama. But I want to hear from you guys a few things. First of all, let me know what your overall sense of the season was. For me, I felt like it was a little bit too toxic. I'm just going to be honest. 2, who is the MVP in your opinion? To me, I'm going to have to once again give the MVP to both Phaedra and Sweet Tea, because without Phaedra and Sweet Tea, what the hell will we have talked about this season? Nothing. And then 3, what changes do you want to see next season? Because I feel like I don't think the show can go on with like this. Like, it's been 2 seasons of pretty much the same stuff. I don't really... Like, for example, look at Jackie. She said about 2 sentences this entire reunion. I think it's time for a little bit of a reboot. But you all let me know what your thoughts are. Who do y'all want to see come back? Who don't you want to see come back? Let me know, you guys. Thank y'all so much for sticking by me for all of these episodes of Married to Medicine. Thank y'all for watching and commenting and keeping the conversation going. I truly do appreciate it. Have a great one, you guys, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.